Welcome to Lock NLoad podcast. My name is Josh.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're here to talk to you about Connecticut 2A issues. Today, our special guest is Donna Veach from the 30th House District. And Donna, why don't you tell us about yourself? Well, a little bio first.
Thank you. Thank you both for having me. This is very exciting, and I look forward to the interview. I'm representing the district of Berlin and Southington, District 30. I just was recently elected for third term, so I'm very excited. Looking forward to another couple of good years, God willing. Long session starting soon, so getting ready for that. So
long session, for anyone who hasn't watched this, happens the election year, right? From January to June-ish.
Yes, sir. About the second week in June. Yep.
And that's where basically any bills can be proposed, I think, by any rep or senator, right?
Anybody can propose a bill.
And that's where we see a lot of the gun control coming out of. That's where HB 6667 came out of, which passed June 6, 2023. And I'm sure we'll see what happens this wonderful year. So Michelle, hit it with the first question.
Okay. So Donna, what made you want to run for office?
Well, I'm a very engaged person. Been very involved in my community for over 30 years. I've lived in Berlin.
You're on their town council?
I am actually on their town council as well, and still maintain that position too. So I dual, if you will, dual positions, and it's helpful. It's helpful for the state, and it's helpful for the town as well. So it keeps my finger on the pulse at all times, depending on, what the situation is. So I, like I said, involved with the community for a very long time, wanted to give back to the community, didn't like what I was seeing in some instances. And I said, that's it. I'm throwing my hat in the ring, and ran for office. I've got a group of really supportive individuals behind me, and that is always helpful. And I really do like, even in the smallest little thing, if I can do for somebody, it makes me feel good that I'm able to help somebody out.
That's awesome. So, that is awesome. It takes a lot to step up and want to run. This takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. And I give you kudos for that. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
How is Berlin on the left-right political scale there?
I would say that we are a Republican community. We do have a lot of independent or unaffiliated voters, no question, but I would say we lean, towards the right quite a bit,
So you're Berlin's split, right? There's another part of the district,
yes, district? So I have a good portion of the district, and there is a piece that Kathy Abercrombie had for years, and then she stepped down and retired, and there was I guess this is his second term now.
Okay.
And he represents, I should say, a good part of Meriden, a piece of Cheshire, and a part of that part of Berlin that touches up against Meriden.
Yeah, so Donna's actually my rep in Southington on the side that I live on. And Southington is covered by you, the 81st district, the 22nd, which is, you kind of buffer that zone. I was looking at the map earlier. And then what is it, the 80th? I think Gale has like a little chunk.
Yes, Gale has a piece of it as well. And like you said, they did some redistricting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's what happened.
What's what happens. So they shift things around a little bit every 10 years. It's a state mandate thing that they do. And
it's by population, isn't it?
It has to do with population, and I'm sure it has to do with the political affiliations in terms of,
gerrymandering.
Yeah. That would be my opinion anyways.
When I lived where my condo was, that was the 81st district. And then I voted for Fusco.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year I go to vote and I'm like, where was Fusco? It actually ended up being, Fusco was gone. It was Chris versus Toni Morrison, where he won by one vote.
One vote.
And I got redistricted that year, and then I was in your district.
Mm-hmm.
So you got my vote that year.
Well, thank you for your vote. And appreciate the support.
And then ever since. But I mean, that right there
could have made the difference.
We could have tied that, right?
Yes.
The other people in that area could have overturned that. So that redistricting made a big difference or potentially made a big difference.
Huh.
Anyways, enough about Southington.
Now, so do you get to choose which committees when you become a legislator, or do you are you given the committee?
Well, I have to say they do ask you where your interests lie. So I would say that if it's possible, they'll give you what you ask for.
Okay.
I initially had gone in, I was representing part of, education, and I had planning and development, which I loved.
What did you do prior to?
Prior to this, I was a development and marketing director for a children's museum and a nature center for just about 20 years.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it was very cool. And
your husband's a police officer?
My husband's a police officer. I've got 3 daughters that are all registered nurses. One's an APRN actually, and I'm a nana to 3 little ones. So yeah, all good
so
stuff.
You're busy all the time.
I am. I retired from that life, if you will, about a little over a year ago, and it probably was the best move I ever made. And now I'm completely 150% devoted, and not that I wasn't before, but it just opened up yourself to more time to do. And now that we are in Hartford, or we're supposed to be in Hartford all the time for committee meetings and public hearings, etc. I came in when it was COVID, and nobody was there, and everything was Zoom.
It was a ghost town,
and it was completely different than what it is now. So
your job just keeps getting more interesting.
Yes, absolutely.
It's keeping you on your toes.
Absolutely. So all good stuff, no complaints.
So you chose, you ask for them and then you're given certain
ones. And then, sometimes you may not necessarily, it doesn't pan out. Maybe it was something different that you had wanted, or maybe they have a shortage somewhere and you have an expertise and they're like, oh, would you be interested in this?
Okay.
So, currently I'm on Judish, have been from the very beginning.
Okay. Did you ask for that?
I did. Okay. I did. But, obviously I have law enforcement near and dear to my heart. Yeah. My husband's been a police officer for over 20 years now. And, I definitely have interest, in that type of stuff, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I chose to go to environment because I did work for a nature center, and I moved away from education. That committee was, let's just say, intense. And I'm also on finance and bonding, which I was asked if I would be willing to do that when they did some shifting. And I said, sure, and actually I do, have experience with budgets, etc., being involved in the town. And I was a buyer way back in the day working for Ames. I did that for a long time. So I had a $30+ million budget. So I think I can, and although they did go out of business, I didn't have anything to do with that. But I do, so it was kind of hard for me to say no, when somebody asked. I said, sure, I can, punt. So
do everybody hold as many committees? Like it sounds like you're on a lot of committees.
I'm on some pretty heavy duty committees. They're called A committees or B committees. Some of them meet 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then the B committees meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all heavy load. I wouldn't say that any of them are not busy, but some are a little busier than others.
Topics wise, it's got to be tough.
Topics are a little tough. I have 3 college degrees, but they're not law degrees. Okay. They're business degrees, completely different world. But,
I got to assume judiciary is probably,
it's tough. And sometimes, I read those things. I got to read them 3 and 4 times to kind of get the gist of it. And, I have, thank goodness for some of our attorneys on there. Fishbein's been wonderful, a great mentor for me personally, because he can explain it or even Dubitsky.
Translate it.
Because they know what
the legalese out of it.
Exactly. I'm like, give it to me in English. Sum this up in a paragraph, guys.
That was one of the hardest things about HB 6667 is understanding that bill. Right. And translating it, obviously written in English, but translating that into normal English.
Right.
Part of that bill that was passed in there requires the legalese and pistol permit classes now. And we take so I use USCCA curriculum and everything and the state stuff and the state supplement. And in there it actually has you read the Safe Storage Act, and then it translates a paragraph to one simple sentence. And I'm like, cool, we're just trying to get more words on the page here. It's like we're in college or high school again, too.
It's all duplicated in, and it's very, it's
confusing, hard to read, hard to understand.
And when you're trying to teach students who don't, like, this isn't what they've done. They haven't been ripping apart bills. They haven't been doing testimony. They haven't been checking all this. All they want is a pistol
just regular
permit.
People.
Right. They just want a pistol permit.
Right.
And then you try to explain it to them and you read all this and then you go, okay, short story, this is what it is. And they go, okay. And I've had a couple go, then why do we have it all like this? Well, because this is the official and this is the explanation. Yeah. I say, because our laws in Connecticut are convoluted.
So for you guys that don't know this, a lot of the gun bills start in the Judiciary Committee. Not always, but a lot of them, at least the impactful ones,
the biggies,
start there, because prior to HB 6667 getting passed the year before, and I don't know the bill number because thankfully I don't think it made it out of committee that year, when they originally tried to ban others.
Correct.
Because there was that panic buy that happened.
You had 1160 back in the day. That was all in Judiciary started there. Sometimes they have to punt them back to finance or vice versa. Or they have to go, there's another place that they go to make sure that it's feasible, fiscal.
To do a fiscal analysis on it, you mean? So appropriations. Okay. And you're right. They sometimes may go from committee to committee, or we may get something in Judish that we say, oh, that really should have gone here or there, and vice versa. There's things that we should have gotten that they ended up going somewhere else. And sometimes I wonder how intentional or unintentional that is, depending on who's running the show and who can push whatever it is that they're trying to push through.
So one of the bills that's gotten brought up, I think we determined 8 times is what Matt said.
7 or 8.
And it was the ammo tax bill that I'm sure gets reworded a million times and everything. I think we said that a lot of it, or most of the time, it starts in finance, which you're on.
Well, if it has to do with tax, if it has to do with taxes, it would make sense that it would come to finance and bonding. Okay. So, the finance committee, which I do serve on, and we did see that last year, and we were able to,
squash it.
So
for the time being,
we're fortunate enough.
It'll come back.
I'm sure you're probably right. All those nasty things do tend to circle around and morph into something else, perhaps, or, but they do come.
So you're on 2 pretty important committees there for 2A rights in general.
Yes.
So thank you.
Well, no,
thanks for going the right way on that aspect. So this past election cycle, you were endorsed by CCDL. Mm-hmm. There's not a ton that have the CCDL endorsement, which I believe is voting basically pro 2A across the board all the time.
Correct.
And then you also had Friends of Connecticut Sportsmen's endorsement, which I don't know much about them. We were talking about that kind of on the last podcast, but another 2A group. Mm-hmm. We know who it's run by. I know they've actually been going around to a lot of gun clubs lately and doing like legal seminars with Greg.
They're like they're like the hunters,
more of the hunting. Yes.
Outdoorsy guys.
Yep.
And the shotguns, like trap,
skeet, that kind of stuff.
The recreational sporting,
correct.
That type of stuff.
Great group of guys.
Wonderful group of people.
You have a lot of endorsements. Berlin Police, NFIB, CT Fraternal Order of Police, apparently CT Realtors.
Yep.
That's okay.
Police Association, NFIB again, Retired Teachers. I didn't know that was a organization.
That's awesome, though. Because it's not easy to get all of those endorsements.
No, it's not, and I'm thrilled that they have put that out there. It's important to me, and it shows what I value and what I support and what I think is important.
Yep.
So,
well, listening to the ones he's listing off, though, those are key ones that you want. So,
absolutely.
That's fantastic.
I mean,
thank you.
The CCDL one is definitely, big in the gun community, obviously.
What they do is amazing. They really do a fantastic job. It's educational. There's a sporting component. There's camaraderie there. It really, you fight the nasties, and there's a lot of them. And there's a lot of good people that participate and support that group. So I'm very
Donna
happy.
knows this because she's one of the few reps that goes to those meetings. When she can.
Yeah,
but I do see you there pretty significantly.
That's awesome.
You were the first rep I saw actually for the holiday party meeting thing they did. And then Doug Dubitsky came in at the end there. Matt Corey was there. He wiggled
nice
in.
to see him. Yeah.
I love him.
Nice guy.
And I think that, I mean, unless I was missing somebody, which I definitely could have been, I think that was it for like either political-ish people.
I don't think I saw anybody. I mean, Charlie usually comes with me, Payanessa. He's our deputy mayor in Berlin. So it happens usually that you guys do your CCDL meetings on a Tuesday evening. And we, both of us sit on the town council in Berlin. So whenever we get a Tuesday night that we're not in council and you guys are, we're like, okay, I'm driving. No, you're driving. And then, you guys were having your party too, which was nice, although I didn't see any of the bread that I brought him. He stuffed bread and Charlie was whining. He didn't get any either.
Well, that means they ate it really quick.
Oh,
right?
I guess that's what happened. There was quite a large crowd there. It was very, very nice. So we go when we have the evening off. We always attend when we can.
The camaraderie in CCDL is always awesome.
It really is nice.
Over the time span that I was with them, I made some very, very long-term friends that many have moved away. I wish I could. But we visit, so it wasn't just sitting and doing just that stuff and just with CCDL. It's nice. We've made a lot of long time friends.
It's a tight-knit group.
It is. It was like you just kind of walk into a family, and
absolutely, that's a good way of putting it.
Well, and they're there, they're there to help you. No matter whether it's gun related or not, once you have that camaraderie going, it's family. We help each other out. I
see more and more customers there.
Yep.
I think I ran into probably probably about a dozen when I was for the December meeting.
Good. So. They were really hoping that Christmas party was going to take off.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yeah, Dave was pretty happy because the weather was, it was just rainy, cold, but Dave was surprised how many people picked now.
Yeah.
How many people showed up.
Oh, no, he was razzing my butt because I wasn't going to the Christmas party. I said, I'll be in Arizona.
It was warm and dry.
It was nicer out there.
Warm and dry.
A little toasty out there.
So my next question is, and I don't think I read this one. If I did read it and we've gotten off track, just let me know. But over the past 4 years, you've been on all these committees with the gun bills coming through and stuff. And what is your approach to prevent more of our rights from being taken away? Like, how do you approach? Because they're coming across the board, and we're behind the 8 ball to begin with.
We know they have a super majority, they mean the left, and they can realistically jam through just about whatever they want, right?
Right.
So
pretty much, we don't. Unfortunately, we don't have the vote there. Yeah. We don't have the numbers. Okay. Right. And if we try to negotiate, once we find out what's coming our way, and it's too early for us to really,
right.
I mean, there might be a few people that know what's going on, more privy than I have, but once we take a look at everything that's coming through, if it's going to get a hearing, if it's even going to come to the committee to get voted out of committee,
Does it matter if you have a conversation, or do they just not want to hear it? Because I get the impression they don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear it. And you can have as much conversation as you want. The question is, are we going to have Dubitsky stand up there on the floor and talk for 3 hours, or Craig or whoever, to try to kill that bill. All right.
I mean, Samson tried with HB 667.
Samson,
went to like 2 or 3 a.m. or something.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, he's up in the Senate, but he fights the fight up there. There's no question. It's difficult because we need to pick and choose what we know they're going to get something through. Okay. Right. To what degree and how bad, it really depends. Okay. Right. I mean, they've done a pretty bad job torturing us over the past several years. I mean,
well, they've done a good job of torturing us.
Yeah. I mean, the police accountability, I mean, for all of this. Mm-hmm. And when you stop and take a look at all of it, it's a nightmare. And
it amazes me that they won't even hear it. Like, you can't even look at them and go, how does this make sense? And
they have the vote.
They just ignore it.
They ignore it. They have the vote.
And I know logically it doesn't make sense, but they don't care.
Well, that's just it. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, you're supposed to be taking the job and making these decisions to make a better state. So some of this stuff is not a better state. This is, this is my personal belief. And I don't care how many facts you want to throw at me. This is what I believe. And me personally, and it's a principle thing with me. It always has been. And I'm also logical, and, those things don't always work in politics. I just never understand how somebody isn't open to hearing. Like, I listen to the other side on purpose so I can see where they're coming from, what their thought processes is. So I can kind of go, okay, I don't agree, but I understand. I've got a conclusion. I don't really understand.
I think that they, in my opinion, they know they have us. They have the number.
So it just doesn't matter. Yeah.
They're going to, so sometimes if there's something that they want to move along, they may negotiate with us a little bit.
Okay.
Well, let's do a little bit of this. If you'll let this go through, or I'll talk for days, or,
Right.
So, I mean, there is some of that, but it's not a whole heck of a lot.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, we are in a blue anti-gun state.
Right.
All the way to the top.
It didn't used to be that way, though.
No, it didn't.
And that's the sad thing is, I mean, we used to be the gun manufacturer, probably of at least New England, if not,
we were the capital.
US.
We were the gun manufacturing capital.
Colt, Ruger, Marlin, Mossberg, and then I'm sure there's other ones I'm missing there that have,
Bushmaster here. You had there's a few. I think PTR was here.
Mass and New York had them too, and the entire New England for the most part just pushed them out.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think we still have Colt. Technically, I mean, they got bought out by CZ, but they're still physically in Hartford. CZ actually makes a lot of their stuff there now. So
yes,
because a lot of stuff is coming stamped CZ USA Hartford.
Yes.
But Ruger has an office still, but they don't manufacture anything here anymore. Mossberg, I guess, still does.
Mossberg's still here. They're in North Haven.
It's sad. It's
well, it drives business out and taxes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that, I think, is, I'm going to segue off a little bit, but with HB 6667 and banning Connecticut others, that hurt my business.
Of course it did.
That was about 25% of my revenue in general. And, one signature from good old Ned, and poof.
And there it goes. The facts don't hold up that they needed to be banned.
No.
That's just all.
Not one other has ever been used as a crime. In Connecticut.
But don't you know crime is down?
Yeah, of course it is.
Crime is down. I mean, they're singing the same song and dance.
Crime is down, right? Just look at Waterbury's police blotter over the last week.
I know the officers.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
They spin the numbers and spin the tail.
I mean, crime, Southington is up.
Everywhere.
I mean, let alone just shoplifting, which is just
everywhere.
blatant now. They're just walking out. Car break-ins,
house break-ins. It's all over, and it's up small sleepy towns and the cities. It doesn't
matter where you live. Absolutely
But
not.
you know what? We just had an election, and before the election, they said crime was down. So it was down then. I don't know what happened right after the election.
Yeah.
It's the same as the budget is always really good until right after election.
That's bad.
We always have a surplus.
Yeah.
And then my last question to you would be, have you always supported the Second Amendment?
Actually, yes, I have. I think that we did target shooting and hunting. Lord, I probably, under the age of what you're supposed to be now.
Well,
back in the day, things were different.
I started at 5.
I think I want to say 10, 12. All right.
Yeah.
And, it was part of a culture for my family. Whether we were out shooting for rabbits or deer hunting with my husband, we were high school sweethearts. I've married 40 years. So, our excitement was going deer hunting to West Virginia to visit his family. We taught all our girls how to hunt and shoot the safe way. We all took classes together, everything above board in the way it should be done, safety wise, etc. And so I've been pro 2A since, like I said, about 10 years old. And we taught our kids the importance of being safe about it, shooting, hunting.
That's what responsible gun owners do.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what responsible parents do.
Yeah, that
general,
too.
right?
That too.
I'm of the belief where, like right now, they want to eradicate guns, and they wanted to not talk about guns, and you hide all the guns and you do all this. And there's a safety factor in there. I understand. However, as a child and knowing children the way I know children, if you take something away, hide it, and to make it a taboo topic or a taboo thing to touch, they're going to try to find a way to do it when they're not being taught the actual way to handle it.
I use that in class for an example. And I use like Christmas presents or birthday presents as an example. I'm like, were you ever a kid, or when you were a kid, obviously, did you know that you were getting, you had a present coming or something, and did you go and find that present before you should have opened it? And you'll get about 50% to say yes. Okay, now put yourself in the shoes of your kid, and they know that mom or dad has a gun and they saw it on TV or they played a video game and they want to see the gun because like that's cool. Is it better to hide it, or is it better to have a conversation with them? And especially this program's out there for
Eagles,
the
Eddie Eagle program.
Eddie the Eagle program, USCCA released theirs about a year ago.
Yep.
For teaching children what to do if they find a firearm, which is stop, don't touch, run away, find an adult.
Yep.
And teaching kids, the safety of firearms.
I grew up with firearms loaded under beds everywhere. My grandparents lived in PA, and the answer was
definitely illegal here now.
Oh yeah, if you see a gun, don't touch it because you don't know if it's going to be loaded or not. And that was the answer. I never touched it because I knew we could shoot. It wasn't a surprise. It wasn't something I had to go seek out. Yeah. When my daughter was born, we had firearms in the house. She got to be old enough. She was like 4, and we would go off to the range. She didn't come with us at the time, but she'd say, "Can I see that?" I'd clear it all, let her see it, let her, I hold it obviously, but let her see what it was. And by the time she was 7, she was in a junior rifle club, not to become a sharpshooter, but to understand the safety and how to clear a gun, how to be, because I knew my house was safe. I don't know what house that she's going to is safe.
Absolutely.
And they miss that whole concept when they pass these laws.
Law, yeah.
They don't realize responsible gun owners are going to do the right thing, and you cannot regulate bad people. You can't.
It's true. It's very true.
They want to regulate evil. There's nothing you can do to solve that. There's always a bad apple out there, but making me pay a price for the bad apple didn't help your problem. I didn't cause the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it was difficult when they were pushing that you couldn't purchase ammunition at a certain age. Well, my kids were all hunters, but I can't buy ammunition to put in the gun that I have to go hunting. It was insane. It's who thought of this dumb bill?
Yep.
There's no other way to put it.
Somebody.
Dumb.
Possibly somebody you still work with. You never know.
I'm sure it was somebody I still work with. There's no question about that.
It's that's Connecticut for you. That is our
unfortunate.
Unfortunately, it is.
It really is. But
and it again wasn't always that way, but it is now.
No.
And I mean the way to fix that is elections.
Sandy Hook was a springboard. Yeah. They had all of these wants and wishes in drawers, and they didn't have the right way to do it. And Sandy Hook happened, and they took everything out of their drawers, even though it made no sense, even though it didn't fix anything, and they just ran with it. Yeah. And we've been on a highway like the Audubon down freaking gun control way, and it's not making us safer. It's not.
Absolutely not.
It's making the law-abiding citizen unsafe is what it's doing.
Yep. It is. It really is. And I use that as an example in classes from news stories from other places in the country. And my logic is always like, well, we take magazine capacity, for example, right? There's, I think 13 states that have restrictions on that. Well, that means that another 37 states don't. And if it was such a problem, wouldn't we be hearing that this was such a problem in 37 other states? But they like to throw, facts and out the window and go with feelings.
Yeah, facts don't matter. Feelings matter.
So,
all right, that's all I have for right now. How about you?
I'm tapped.
You're tapped.
I'm out of questions.
Tapped. Okay.
Well,
I brought up all my points.
Do you have anything you want to say?
I think that I want to thank both of you for spending some time with me this afternoon. This was good. It was hopefully informative for the people that are listening. You know,
I enjoyed it.
Yes, I did too. It was good. It was very good. The only thing I'm going to say is people need to get out there and vote during elections.
Yes.
And helping campaigns.
It's so important if we can turn a seat here or turn a seat there, because if not, it will not get better. It will only get worse. And, your two-way rights, we're entitled to that. That is something that is dear to my heart, to my kids' hearts. They've taught their significant others, husbands, soon to be husbands, how to shoot, be safe, take classes. Mm-hmm. These are all important things that are going to go by the wayside if we don't keep pushing back.
I agree.
And my door is always open. Phone call. I always return my phone calls, always return my emails. If you ever need to reach out to me up in Hartford, by all means, I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody.
I can vouch for that. I set this up through that little contact form.
Yep.
I was like, I didn't want to call you. I was like, let me just shoot it out there and wait for an answer, give her a week or two, see, what she says. I want to get it done before the session started. And you answered right away. Yep. And I was like, Michele, what day can you do?
Yep. Yep. Sounds good. Well, thank you again for
coming on. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for spending some time. And I wish you the best of luck during your session.
Thank you. Talk to me in 6 months.
We'll see how you're doing then.
At least you're not juggling another full-time job along with this, right?
That's true. This is it. So.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for coming on. My name's Josh.
And I'm Michele.
We'll see you guys next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lock NLoad podcast is sponsored by Lock NLoad Firearms, Connecticut's #1 rated gun store and pistol permit class on Google. Come check us out, 1573 Meriden Waterbury Turnpike in Southington. Lock NLoad Firearms.
Lock NLoad podcast is also sponsored by Patriot Wear Holsters, custom-made Kydex holsters locally made in Waterbury, Connecticut. www.patriotwearholster.com and use code LNL podcast for 10% off your purchase. Orders available for shipping or pickup at various locations.